After hiding for 8 years, she discovers an incredible truth when the Alpha King finally listens. Ellie's palms were sweaty as she stood behind the counter of the small diner, the comforting hum of fryers and chatter filling the air. For 8 long years, she had learned to hide in plain sight, pouring coffee and dishing out stories to anyone who wandered in. Today, however, the air felt different. The annual Harvest Festival was upon them, and with it came a bittersweet excitement, mixed with dread. She watched the townsfolk bustle by, their laughter like music, but it was the looming return of her estranged uncle, the Alpha King, that twisted her stomach into knots. As she took a deep breath, she caught a glimpse of his expensive suit cutting through the crowd, the very embodiment of success, wealthy, ambitious in a way that left others to crumble like fallen leaves. Memories of family gatherings stung like old wounds, where she would hold herself smaller, hiding behind shadows cast by relatives with bigger dreams, all focused on their own reflections in the polished glass. Yet here she was, standing on the edge of a fresh start, her manuscript tucked safely in her bag, filled with the struggles of people left behind by that same American dream. The sun dipped low as the festival kicked off, creating a painting of golden hues against the backdrop of laughter and nostalgia. Ellie couldn't escape him. Every corner of the fairground seemed to vibrate with his presence. Finally, drawn by the pulse of the crowd, she stepped out, her heart pounding fiercely. The crowd hushed as she approached the makeshift stage. She was tired of hiding. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Ellie cleared her throat and stepped to the microphone. As she glanced at the faces before her, familiar ones that now felt like mirrors reflecting years of silence, she spoke with a newfound courage. I might be the daughter of a veteran, a nobody in this town, an outsider in my own bloodline, but I'm also a voice for those forgotten. Gasps filled the air. For too long she had been silent, but today, she was ready to break that silence. Her words poured like a river, exposing the decay of someone's dream, not just her own, but of those who once fought for theirs only to find rejection. Just as she began to grasp the attention of her audience, a bombshell of truth erupted from her lips, a secret that had festered like an invisible wound in their community for decades. It rattled the crowd's foundations, sending whispers like shifting autumn leaves rippling through the air. Faces transformed from surprise to contemplation, sparking an uncomfortable awareness of the walls they had built around their hearts. As the harvest moon rose, illuminating the stunned expressions around her, Ellie felt a combination of fear and exhilaration. Would her truth lead to forgiveness? Could it build a bridge in the chasm that had long divided her family? Would they finally listen? The silence wrapped around her, thick and palpable, but the flicker of hope ignited in her chest, pushing her forward. Now she waited, heart racing, on the cusp of change. A tension hung in the air, thick enough to slice through with a knife. Ellie's heart thudded against her ribs, echoing her unsteady breaths as she awaited a response. Would they reject her? Would they walk away, just like those family members who had turned their backs on her so many times before? Or would they finally see her, really see her, as someone worthy of their attention? The seconds felt like hours. A murmur ran through the crowd, a wave of voices rising like a tide. She caught snippets of conversation, confusion, anger, disbelief. Faces squinted, eyebrows furrowed, some lips pressed tightly together. Her heart sank as she sensed their struggle to reconcile the facade of an idyllic community with the painful truth she had just unveiled. Ellie? A voice broke through the murmurs, a familiar yet distant tone. It was her uncle, dressed in that glaring suit, polished shoes, stepping assertively toward the stage. Those cold, calculating eyes met hers, and life fluttered in her chest like a trapped bird. You truly think you can shake our family name with your stories? His words sliced through her hope, but Ellie wouldn't be silenced. Not again. I'm not trying to ruin the family name, Uncle. I'm trying to save it from the lies that have kept us all prisoner. Her voice steadied, gathering strength from deep within. We are more than just titles and wealth, we are people. Real flawed people. A ripple of discomfort went through the crowd. She could feel the crowd shifting, eyes darting between her and her uncle, confusion battling curiosity. But Ellie pressed on, determined to be the beacon of truth. You don't understand the struggles of the very people you overshadow, she continued, her voice rising, trembling with emotion. People who fought for this town, for our family, only to be forgotten. My words aren't a betrayal. They are a testament to all of us who felt disposable. It took a moment, but she noticed some heads nodding in agreement. Those who had come to support her during the festival were finally starting to show their colors, their loyalty rippling beneath the surface. She had planted a seed, and now she needed to nurture it. The atmosphere shifted as others joined in. Ellie's right. We've all faced struggles, called one voice from the back. We aren't just the masks we wear, added another. Emboldened by the growing courage around them, the crowd began to buzz with collective energy, a vital shot of warmth against the biting cold reality they had all been avoiding. But she could still see her uncle's jaw setting, his stubborn pride hardening like concrete. He would fight back. The thought terrified her. You think your voice matters? He shouted, trying to drown the wave of support. You're just a waitress. A ghost from the past. Something ignited within her. Then let me haunt your memory, she countered fiercely. Let me be the wake-up call this town needs. The applause suddenly erupted. It wasn't thunderous, but it was their real raw, emerging from the hearts of a community shackled by silence for too long. Ellie could scarcely believe it. They were rallying, standing behind her, forcing their way into the light together. She blinked back tears, feeling the tide of emotion swell within her. But this was only the beginning, wasn't it? Would they have the courage to face the truth she had unearthed? From beyond the crowd something moved. She caught a flicker, a familiar face that shouldn't have been there, a distant sibling, long lost to her. His gaze locking onto hers with a question in his eyes. Ellie's breath caught, her heart leaping. This was the moment she had always dreamed of, but also the moment she had dreaded. What if the truth she revealed pushed them further apart instead of bringing them back together? As laughter and voices wrapped authentically around her, she realized this was both an ending and a beginning, a path unfolding into the unknown. Hope surged within her, intertwining with uncertainty. There were changes coming, changes she had feared but also longed for. Could she and her family finally face the truth? The festival continued, bright lights illuminating dreams anew. And as Ellie stood on that stage, she knew the next chapter of her life was about to be written. But would they turn the page with her? Or would old wounds remain too deep to heal? The warmth of the crowd enveloped Ellie like a comforting embrace, but her heart was pounding for an entirely different reason. Her eyes locked onto her brother's, a mix of joy and anxiety flooding her senses. Had he really come? After all those years apart, after the silence that felt almost deafening, there he stood. Adam, the brother who had faded into the background of memory, now stepping forward into the light. Ellie, he called, his voice barely rising above the murmur as he cautiously made his way toward the stage. Each step he took felt monumental, like a bridge spanning 8 lost years. She felt the layers of hurt and hope weaving through her chest, creating a tapestry of emotions that made her lightheaded. Adam! She shouted, the name echoing through the jubilant chaos around them. It was like the world blurred, the crowd fading into mere vessels for their reunion. Every painful memory flooded back, every laugh they had shared, every tear shed when life felt unfair. A lifetime compressed into a single word expressed in sheer joy. As he reached her, their eyes locked, and for a moment nothing else mattered. The applause slowly faded, replaced by the intimate silence between them. I saw you and I had to come, he confessed, his voice soft but laced with urgency. The world around them vanished, leaving just the two of them steeped in unresolved feelings. Ellie's heart swelled with a bittersweet happiness. I thought I lost you, she whispered, emotion clenching her throat. I was scared I'd never see you again. I thought the same, he admitted, his gaze faltering for a mere instant before he pressed on. But when I heard you speak, something clicked. You've changed so much, Ellie. His sincerity was like a balm to her raw wounds. I had to, she replied, her voice giving way to vulnerability. I needed to free us all from the unspoken truths holding us captive. Without fully realizing it, a small crowd began to gather around them, drawn by the magnetism of their reunion. Faces softened, empathy blooming within the hearts of those who had surrounded her only moments before. They were no longer just spectators. They had become witnesses to the fragile fabric of family unraveling and being rewoven before their very eyes. Adam softened as he looked into the crowd. "Do you really think we can change everything?" he asked, the tremor of hope in his voice feeling both foreign and familiar. Ellie swallowed hard. "I have to believe we can. If not for us, then for the others out there who need to know they aren't alone." The people around them nodded, some even stepping closer, caught in the tide of Ellie's passion. They were hungry for change, longing for authenticity after living in the shadows for so long. The cheers began once more, gradually rising like a tide pulling them forward. Ellie felt her resolve cementing with each shout of encouragement. She focused on Adam, knowing their unity could foster something greater. "But will we stand together?" she asked, locking eyes with him again. "What's left behind doesn't matter. What's ahead is all we have," he affirmed, his lips curling into the semblance of a grin that expressed both forgiveness and promise as her heart soared. Uncertainty clawed at her edges. Would they all follow this path? Could the truth truly unite them? For what waited on the other side of unveiling was an unknown yet tantalizing realm, filled with the potential for growth as well as deeper wounds. She knew this was only the beginning. The crowd felt alive, a heartbeat rising and falling like a wave, pulsing with the fear and excitement of navigating uncharted waters. What awaited them beyond the festival lights? What buried secrets would the unveiling stir? As the echoes of the future danced in her thoughts, Ellie took a deep breath, ready to embrace the tremors of possibility. But the real question lingered. Were they ready to dive into that rich, unsteady chaos together? Ellie felt a rush of energy coursing through her veins as the crowd erupted into cheers. The sound lifted her spirits, but doubt still flickered in the back of her mind. She had yearned for this moment, dreamed of being reunited with Adam, but the reality was far more complex than any fantasy she had conjured. "Is it really you?" she murmured, needing to anchor herself to the moment. Adam's presence felt surreal, like catching a glimpse of a ghost she had never truly let go. "It's me," he reassured her, extending a hand toward her. She grasped it tentatively, their fingers intertwining as if they were physically reconnecting the pieces of their lives. "I missed you more than you can imagine." His voice trembled with sincerity, grounding her thoughts. The surrounding crowd watched, drawn into their reunion with palpable reverence. Words exchanged between them were more than just dialogue. They held the weight of 8 years apart, 8 years of unresolved pain. It struck her how the air pulsed with unvoiced stories, each person enacting a silent battle of their own histories. As if sensing the collective anticipation in the air, Adam took a deep breath and spoke louder, his voice confident and clear. "Change doesn't just happen. It's a choice we all have to make. We've lived in shadows long enough." Ellie nodded, heart swelling at the thought of uncharted possibilities. But much like a single spark can ignite a wildfire, she knew the path to transformation wouldn't be so simple. "What if they don't want to hear it?" she asked, her voice low but edged with urgency. "What if the truth only divides us further?" Adam squeezed her hand tighter, a gesture of solidarity that sent warmth through her. "Then we'll stand together. We have to be brave enough to face it, even if it scares us." As he spoke, Ellie caught a glimpse of others in the crowd. Their faces reflected a mix of hope, skepticism, and determination. There were those who had come seeking change, and others weighed down by deep-seated fears. She glanced at a woman with tear-stained cheeks, clutching a tattered photo of a lost loved one, and the anger of missed opportunities surged within her. "Let us ignite this," Ellie said, her voice taking on an energetic timbre. The swell of support galvanized her. "If we unearth our truths, we unite our voices. It's time for all of us to face our pasts together." The earlier whispers of doubt in the crowd began to ebb, replaced by murmurs of affirmation. The applause grew louder, crescendoing into an anthem of unyielding hope. They moved as one entity, an evolving tapestry of loss, love, and persistence. Ellie scanned the faces, each had a story waiting to be shared, a wound longing for healing. "Are you with us?" she yelled to the crowd, her spirit charged with fervor. Hands rose high. People chanted, voices merged as if they were one giant pulse echoing through the air. But as the enthusiastic cheer erupted, Ellie noticed Adam's face grow troubled. "There's something I need to tell you," he said suddenly, the gravity of unspoken words palpable. Ellie's stomach sank. The warmth she had felt just moments before dissipated, replaced by a chilling uncertainty. What do you mean? She asked, heart racing. Had she overlooked something vital? There's a reason I stayed away. Something you don't know, he said, his gaze darting between the crowd and her uncertain expression. Anxiety knotted tight in her chest as she awaited what lay ahead. What is it, Adam? The question left her lips in a tremor, heavy with the weight of fear and trepidation. His eyes glistened like rain-soaked glass, filled with stories she still had yet to face. You have to promise to listen, no matter how painful it gets. The crowd's energy waned a fraction, curiosity woven into the air alongside her mounting dread. Ellie inhaled deeply, feeling the fraying connection to her earlier resolve. Just tell me. For in that moment, everything hinged on the unknown. Little did Ellie know that Adam's truth would pivot not just their future, but the very fabric of their lives and the community gathered around them. Would they truly be ready to turn the page? As silence stretched between them, she realized the hardest part of revealing their past awaited, and she had no idea what truths lay on the other side. Ellie's heart raced as she held Adam's gaze. There was a storm brewing in his eyes, as though the words he was about to share could either break or heal what lay between them. The audience's anticipation hung thick in the air, their cheers fading into a focused silence. She couldn't shake the feeling that this revelation would throw them into uncharted territory, somewhere neither had dared to tread before. Ellie, Adam began, his voice low but steady, when I left it wasn't just because I wanted to. He took a deep breath, glancing momentarily at the crowd before locking eyes with her again. I was forced to. There were reasons I can't explain here. His hands trembled slightly as he paused, and Ellie noticed the pulse of raw emotion beneath his calm facade. Reasons? She echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. What do you mean forced? I can't talk about all of it now, he said, desperation creeping into his words. But I'm back, Ellie, and I need you to understand that I never stopped caring, never stopped fighting for us. Her mind whirled with questions. Why had he been taken from her? What could possibly be so dangerous that it had kept him away for all those years? Each second of silence stretched painfully long. Then what she began, but Adam cut her off with a wave of his hand, his face taut with anxiety. I've returned to uncover the truth, he said, urgency lacing each syllable. There's a conspiracy, Ellie. One that reaches deeper into our town than anyone could have guessed. A murmur rippled through the crowd, questions flaring in the eyes of those around them. Ellie felt the heat of their stares, the weight of their hopes resting on her shoulders. What do you mean? Ellie insisted, the fear coiling in her stomach still feeding her urgency. He leaned closer and time seemed to slow. You've heard whispers, Haven, to you? About the mayor? About the old alliances? His voice was a rough whisper, but she could feel its charge. What do those things have to do with us? With you? She asked, her heart racing faster. There's so much we don't know. I believed I was protecting you by staying away. But he faltered, looking pained. They've already started to close in, and it's only a matter of time before they realize I'm back. The crowd watched in rapt attention. Ellie felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. You can't just drop this on me. You're giving me half-truths, Adam. What should we do? Panic gnawed at her, the reality of his words crashing down like waves in a storm. One of the onlookers stepped forward, a man with fear etched across his features. You can't mean the old tales, those are just stories. Adam held up his hand, addressing the crowd. What if I told you the tales have roots in something real? That our town is tangled in a history of power and betrayal? Ellie looked at Adam, seeing the flicker of hope in his eyes battling against the fear. Do you really think we can face this? Together? We have to, Ellie. Together we stand a chance. Alone we risk losing everything. The crowd shifted as the weight of the moment began to settle among them. Eyes locked on the two of them. A shared realization flickered across the crowd's faces. They all had their own truths that needed facing. But just as the rallying energy surged once more, Adam drew back, hoisting a burden of guilt that sat heavy on his shoulders. But there's one more thing, his voice cracked, the intensity of the moment pulling them all in like a magnet. What, Adam? Ellie gasped, the urgency in her heart echoing through the crowd. I was hiding something far worse than just my absence. It's about our families and how they're connected to everything that's about to unfold. Ellie's breath caught in her throat. The realization of unpreparedness washed over her. What lay ahead could change everything she knew about herself, about him, about their world. As fear danced against her insides, Ellie whispered, "Will we be able to bear it?" The answer lingered in the air, raw and unresolved, as the crowd leaned closer, drawn by the gravity of Adam's words. Everything was shifting, and Ellie sensed the storm coming. Would they be strong enough to weather it? The atmosphere pulsed with tension, crackling like electricity in the humid air. Ellie felt a chill run down her spine as Adam's startling declaration hung between them. She searched his eyes for confidence but found only uncertainty, like waves crashing against a jagged cliff. "I don't even know where to start," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Around them the crowd remained silent, every face a mirror of anticipation and fear, waiting for clarity. Ellie's stomach twisted. Why now? Why would you come back with this burden? The words rushed out, fueled by desperation. "If it's true, then we've all been living a lie." Adam took a shaky breath. "Because I couldn't let you face it alone. I didn't foresee the risks when I stayed away. But now, if I'm going to be part of your life again, I need to be honest." Before she could respond, a young woman from the crowd stepped forward, her voice trembling. "What do you mean by our families?" The question reverberated, echoing the fears simmering beneath the surface. Ellie felt the weight of the inquiry settle heavily in the air. Adam turned to face the group, the resolve in his posture shifting. "Ellie's family and mine," he hesitated, swallowing hard. "They were part of something bigger, a legacy of choices made long ago. Choices that are haunting us now." The murmur spread through the crowd, a mixture of confusion and dread. Ellie felt her heart race as every word painted a picture of shadows flickering across her past. Memories of whispered conversations, fearful glances, and guarded truths whispered through her mind. "Adam, please," she urged, feeling a knot tighten in her chest. "You can't just drop these hints and expect me to stay calm. What is this legacy? What did our families do?" He closed his eyes for a brief moment, collecting himself. "Your grandfather and my father were involved in something that drew boundaries between us. There was power and ambition. They made deals without telling us the consequences. And now that decision is about to catch up to us. Does anyone else know?" Ellie's voice trembled, each word tinged with fear. A stoic silence surrounded them, amplifying the weight of their unspoken truths. The crowd shifted uneasily, eyes darting from Adam to Ellie. "Some do," he replied, his gaze bleak. "But most of us have been kept in the dark." As the echoes of history whispered around them, Ellie felt unmoored, adrift in the chaos of dread. So what? We just face it. What are we even fighting against? Are we going to become pawns in a game we didn't choose? "Facing the truth is the first step," Adam said softly. "We can't hide anymore. We need to unite." He leaned forward, his sincerity cutting through the thick tension. "You can trust me. I swear on everything that I will protect you, and we will uncover the truth together." His words felt like a fragile lifeline, but beneath it all, Ellie wanted the truth no matter how ugly it might be. She felt a burning need to know what secrets wove their families into this tangled web. But just as she nodded, accepting the path ahead, a rustling noise drew her attention. A figure emerged from the back of the crowd. The man was familiar, his presence chaotic and charged. "What are you doing, Adam?" he shouted, his voice booming amidst the murmurs. "This is bigger than you think." Ellie's breath caught in her throat again, a fresh wave of fear crashing over her. Who was this man? What did he know? And why did she suddenly feel like the storm was just beginning to swirl? As tension hung thick, Ellie felt the nudge of destiny urging her forward into an unknown fate, a dark compass leading deeper into the conspiracy. What else had Adam buried in his past? Could they handle what lay ahead? The stakes were rising, and the path was becoming ever more treacherous. Would they survive the unearthing of secrets that bound them together? Ellie stood at the threshold, feeling the weight of the moment as she prepared to plunge into the unknown. The crowd swelled with whispers, shifting uneasily as the man stepped closer. His air of authority was magnetic, the kind that pulled attention without asking. Ellie's eyes narrowed, searching his face for familiarity, context, something to ground her. "Liam," Adam breathed, his face paling. He looked at Ellie with warning in his eyes as if to say, "This is not just anyone. Do you really think this is the right moment?" Liam's anger crackled in the charged air. "You're about to open a Pandora's box, Adam. Are you ready for the consequences?" Ellie's heart thundered in her chest. "What are you talking about?" She felt small and overwhelmed, emotions swirling inside her like leaves on a stormy day. "What did you mean by it's bigger than we think?" "I'm a part of this too," Liam stated, his voice loud and steady. "I know things about our families that could shatter the fragile peace we've maintained all these years." The crowd instinctively took a collective step back, the fear palpable. Ellie caught Adam's eye, searching for reassurance, but she saw only distress. This Liam was a wild card, and she could sense that his presence could ignite a fire long left smoldering. "Enough of this," Adam snapped, attempting to regain control. "Whatever you know, this isn't the time to throw accusations. We're all standing here, ready to uncover the truth together. And what makes you think you can just decide who's in or out of this, Adam?" Liam challenged, stepping forward. "You have no idea what's at stake. This is our legacy we're dealing with, not just yours." Ellie felt her mind racing, fueled by Liam's words. The looming shadows of the past, the whispers of family secrets now ignited into a roaring flame. "What do you mean, our legacy?" she asked, her voice rising in urgency. Liam turned to her, expression softening slightly. "Fractured alliances, Ellie. Our families weren't just neighbors. There were broken deals, dangerous choices, some of which should have died with our ancestors but refused to do so." He took a breath as if steeling himself. "They made promises, binding promises that left us entangled, even when we didn't know it. Then let us free ourselves." Adam's voice was fierce, but the tension roiling in the air was disconcerting. "We can't let our fears dictate our future." Ellie's eyes flicked from Adam to Liam, and then to the silent faces around her. Each person stood on the precipice of revelation. What kind of darkness were their families entwined in? "Look," Ellie interjected, her heart pounding. "If there's something we need to face, then let us not waste time. Tell me everything. No more half-truths." The crowd perked up, the tension morphing into a hinted solidarity. They were all tired of being left in the dark, tired of secrets keeping them captive. She sensed a shift, a budding resolve in the air, and it ignited something deep within her, a hope, a yearning for the truth, no matter how terrifying. Liam's gaze hardened as he stared at Adam. "Fine, then let us untangle this mess. But know this, if we dig too deep, we may awaken forces we cannot control." A chill ran down Ellie's spine. Deep shadows danced on the edges of her mind, hinting at dangers she had not yet fathomed. Was she ready for what lay beneath the surface? As Adam nodded, affirming their shared intention, Ellie felt her heart beat faster. They were crossing into unknown territory, a realm woven with betrayal and heartache. "Before we proceed," Liam began, his voice dropping to a murmur that sliced through the tension, "there's one crucial piece to this puzzle. It's the one thing our families believe to be buried. But if it comes to light," he hesitated, and the crowd leaned closer, drawn in by his intensity. "What is it?" Ellie asked, breathless. Liam glanced around the anxious faces surrounding him, weighing the moment. "Someone in this crowd has been lying to us, someone who knows the truth." A collective gasp rippled through the assembly, leaving Ellie clamoring for answers as she clutched at the lingering fear of betrayal. The storm was brewing, and she knew they were inching closer to an undeniable reckoning. What secrets had been guarded so fiercely? Who was hiding in plain sight, waiting for their moment? In the heart of this charged atmosphere, Ellie felt the undeniable pull of fate, urging her forward into a darkness that could fracture everything she knew, and yet, something in her whispered that this journey could lead to the truth they all needed. The crowd was thick with tension, a vibrant pulse of confusion and fear. Ellie could feel the weight of every gaze on her as they waited for the next words to break the silence. Who amongst them was a traitor? It felt as if the ground beneath her was shifting, and she had to stand firm. "Liam," Ellie urged, her voice steadier than she felt, "you can't dangle that over us and just walk away. Who is it?" Liam held her gaze, and the unyielding intensity in his eyes sent a shiver through her. "A name would only serve to fracture us further at this moment. This isn't just about one lie. It's about a web of lies that intertwines us all. We need to navigate through it carefully." Adam stepped closer, clearly with his own fears bubbling to the surface. Navigating means being honest. We all deserve to know who we can trust. He looked at each person around them, a plea for unity behind his commanding voice. Ellie felt the stirring of memories, fragments of conversations overheard and secrets slipped between her family's lips. Every single one of them could be harboring a truth that could blow their fragile alliances apart. The idea twisted like a knife in her gut. But what if we're wrong? A voice quaked from the crowd. It was a woman trembling with tears pooling in her eyes. What if it's someone we love? The air was thick with uncertainty. Ellie sensed the unease ripple outward, fear morphing into distrust, and dread creeping into the corners of every heart present. Fear shouldn't paralyze us, she countered, stepping forward defiantly. It has kept us from seeing the truth, from finding the light in the shadows. Liam exhaled slowly, as if weighing her words before he nodded. You're right. But the light we find might not be the one we envisioned. Dark truths often come from unexpected places. He met Ellie's unwavering gaze, and she knew then that this would be a turning point, one that could redefine everything. As discussions murmured in the background, Ellie's heart raced. Then let us face it together. We owe it to ourselves, to the ones we've lost in this battle of secrets. Whoever is lying needs to feel the pressure of the truth. A ripple of agreement stirred in the crowd. Ever so slowly, hands began to raise, voices emerged behind unsure faces. I've wondered about the old barn, a man began, his voice hesitant yet resolute. The tales we were told weren't just ghost stories. A wave of remembrance swept over some faces, those childhood evenings spent listening to the myths of old. Liam turned toward the man, intrigued. Tell us more. As the man described the barn's history, Ellie felt a palpable shift in the air. It was as if a key was turning, unlocking something buried so deeply. Each story resurfacing felt like breaking the surface of dark waters, exposing secrets that should have never been forgotten. And with each revelation, the emotional weight between them lightened, and hope began to flicker amidst the encroaching shadows. Ellie found herself leaning into the momentum, the warmth of newfound solidarity igniting her spirit. This is the beginning, she said, her voice strong and clear. We will uncover the lies, expose the truth, and reclaim our narrative. A determined nod rippled through the crowd, emboldened by her words. The energy surged around her, gathering like a storm. Finally united, they stood together, ready to face whatever darkness awaited them. But as they started to rally their collective strength, Ellie's eyes caught a glimpse of a shifting figure at the edge of the crowd. A familiar face, twisted in uncertainty. Her heart sank. Wait, what if the moment hung in the air, heavy and electric? Doubt clawed at her as the truth began to unravel further than even she could predict. Who would step forward next, and how would they reshape their journey? Was the real danger still concealed within their grasp? With so many questions left to answer, Ellie felt a shiver run down her spine. Would they pull the thread of deception, only to watch it unravel into chaos? As the murmur in the crowd ebbed, Ellie's breath turned shallow. The familiar figure came into focus, stepping cautiously forward. It was Sarah, her childhood friend, the girl who had once been like a sister. But now there was a vulnerability in her stance that sent panic twisting in Ellie's gut. Ellie, Sarah started, her voice thin and shaky. I didn't know how to come forward. I thought it would be easier to stay quiet. Easier. Ellie felt the weight of the entire crowd's eyes on her, searching for clarity amid the chaos. Easier for who? We need to confront this together. I'm sorry. Sarah's hands trembled by her sides. You don't understand. I heard things. Things about the barn. About those stories. They weren't just tales, they were warnings. A ripple of confusion shot through the crowd, and Ellie's heart raced with alarm. What are you talking about? Warnings about what? About the traitor, Sarah said, glancing around uneasily, her voice dropping to a whisper. About why we've been betrayed. Ellie pushed her way closer, her heart pounding. What do you know? Who is it? The crowd leaned in, anticipation hanging thick in the air. Ellie could see fear sprawled across many faces. This wasn't just about uncovering a single truth. It felt like digging through layers of betrayal that had been festering for years. I can't say it here, Sarah insisted, her eyes darting to the shadows where uncertainty lurked. There are ears everywhere, and people we can't trust. Liam approached, his brow furrowed. Sarah, if you have information, we need it now. No more hiding. We can't afford to tiptoe around any longer. Sarah hesitated, the torment of indecision written all over her face. I can't. If I say it out loud, I will put all of you in danger. They'll all know I spoke. Ellie felt the electricity in the air shift. As much as she wanted to reassure Sarah, she also felt the collective anxiety of the crowd pushing against her. We can protect you. We can protect each other. Whatever this is, we have to face it together. Tension crackled like static as the crowd awaited Sarah's answer. Ellie's thoughts spiraled, each possibility darker than the last. What truth lay buried beneath the old barn stories? What secrets wrapped like chains around their hearts? After what felt like an eternity, Sarah took a deep breath. You don't understand. The traitor itself, someone close to us. Someone we've trusted. A gasp rippled through the crowd, and Ellie felt all the blood drain from her face. Whispered conversations burrowed around her like a storm. Who? We deserve to know. Someone shouted. Please, Sarah's voice broke, betrayal blurring her features. Give me a moment. I can't say it out loud just yet. But I will show you. Meet me after the meeting at the barn. With that, she turned, disappearing into the crowd that swirled like a tempest of confusion. Ellie could feel her heart thundering, but along with it simmered a brewing fire. Would they uncover the truth about the traitor? Or would Sarah's secret bury them deeper in despair? Liam clasped her shoulder, urgency glazing his eyes. We have to decide, Ellie. Do we confront Sarah? Or do we follow her? Ellie's mind spun with possibilities. Trust felt like a fragile thing, easily shattered. The walls of the barn loomed in her mind like a ravenous beast, holding secrets dark enough to consume them all. As the energy crackled and the crowd began to disperse, Ellie stood at a crossroads. Should she seek Sarah, unraveling the truth at the edge of darkness? Or should she confront the fear within, igniting the flame of unity among them all? The weight of the decision loomed heavier than ever. Would they let secrets tear them apart? Or stand together against the darkness of betrayal? The night was young, and uncertainty whispered through the air, begging to be heard. As dusk fell, the flickering lights of the Harvest Festival cast a surreal glow over the crowd. Ellie felt every heartbeat thrumming in her ears as tension held the atmosphere like a coiled spring. The revelation that Sarah had shared hung in the air, a suspension of hope and fear. Her thoughts churned, entangled in the web of uncertainty. We have to meet her, Ellie finally decided, summoning her strength like a shield. Gathering Adam and Liam, they made their way toward the old barn that loomed like a specter at the edge of the fairground. Each step felt like a journey into the unknown, but courage surged within them. They were no longer just victims of their families' pasts. They were seekers of truth, standing united in the face of the storm. The barn creaked ominously as they approached. Shadows danced, whispering secrets lost in time. When they pushed the door open, a gust of stale air welcomed them, heavy with the weight of memories. Ellie looked around, straining to see if Sarah was there. Ellie! Sarah's voice startled her. The friend stood in the far corner, her silhouette sharp against the fading light. You came. What's going on? Ellie pressed, the urgency mounting. What do you know about the traitor? Taking a deep breath, Sarah's uncertainty shifted to determination. It's about our parents, our families. There's something we didn't know. She stepped closer, but the fear in her eyes made Ellie's insides churn. Someone has been manipulating us all, using our pasts to divide us. Adam stiffened beside her. Who is it? I wish I could say it was just one person, but it's a web, one member from each family. The gravity of her words settled like a stone in their hearts. Ellie could barely breathe. What do you mean? She stepped back, processing the implications. We're all in danger? Exactly, Sarah nodded. They've been protecting secrets under the guise of loyalty. I overheard my parents talking something about a pact, a promise that was never meant to be broken. But why now? Liam interjected, his brow furrowed. What has changed? Why are you telling us this? Because it's time to wake up, Sarah declared, resolve lifting her chin. We can't let them keep holding our futures hostage. Together we could expose them. A wave of solidarity washed over the group. Each person held the potential to unravel the shadowy string pulling at their lives. If we confront our families, we could bring the truth to light, Adam suggested, his voice igniting a spark of hope. Right. But we must tread carefully, Ellie cautioned. Trust won't come easy. We need a plan. They discussed the next steps, the energy building with each exchange. They would join forces with the others, bring the community into this storm of revelation. They had already begun forging a new path for themselves. There was something beautiful about reclaiming their stories as they stepped back outside. The festival lights illuminated their resolve. The crowd continued to bustle around them, laughter and joy vibrant against the weight of what they knew. But they felt a change stirring, a whisper that the truth, no matter how painful, would guide them home. Later, as the moon rose high, casting silvery light upon the barn, the four stood together at the heart of their community once more. They watched as friends and family gathered under the starlit sky, their faces reflecting uncertainty and hope. Ellie stepped forward first, heart racing. "I have something to share with you all." Her voice rang out clear, steady, pulling the audience's focus like a magnet. She poured her heart into her words, recounting the fears, the darkness looming over them, and the need to confront those strings of betrayal. "We distant echoes of the past that still control us." Gasps rippled outward, tension twisting as she spoke, but her eyes held firm, the power of truth glimmering within. Adam and Sarah flanked her, their presence a testament to their shared journey. Liam stood strong, his voice joining Ellie's. "We can't let lies weigh down our community any longer. We deserve better. Together we'll navigate this labyrinth of deception." Fingers began to raise in agreement, uncertainty melting beneath the warmth of their gathered strength. Ellie's heart swelled with overwhelming emotion. Something beautiful awakened amongst them. One by one, the crowd began to rally. Voices of solidarity merged, no longer whispers but shouts of unity promising change. It was then, amidst the energy vibrantly coursing through the air, that Ellie felt a touch on her shoulder. She turned to see her uncle standing at the edge of the throng, eyes filled with remorse. "Ellie," he said, stepping forward, "I never meant for these shadows to choke your life. It's time to face what we fear and heal what we've broken." A collective shift breathed life into the crowd. Hope clung to the air like dew as everyone began to move, ready to uncover their truths, prepared to walk the path back into the light. As they all paused, heartbeats synchronized beneath the harvest moon, Ellie felt renewed purpose thrum through her veins. Change was here, woven together with the warmth of honesty and the strength of community. With a final surge of resolve, she raised her arms high, echoing the call for unity. "Let us reclaim our stories." The cheers that erupted felt like waves crashing against the shore, powerful, cleansing, and unyieldingly beautiful, bridging their past to the future they could now write together. This was it. Together they faced not just the past but also what lay ahead, armed with trust, authenticity, and the indomitable spirit of their united voices. The journey was only beginning, but they were ready to rally, ready to fight for their place in a narrative that could finally redeem their legacy. Now, dear friends, this is the moment to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It truly makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support and help spread this message of unity and change. Join us in this journey.